Horselydown is an ancient place. It stretches from Tooley Street to Dockhead and it is teeming with history. St John's Horselydown was a beautiful Hawksmoor church built in 1733. It had a graceful spire and a tower that housed 10 bells. But it literally had 10 bells knocked out of it when it was bombed and set alight in the Second World War. Its charred and dangerous debris remained there until the 1980s when it was finally demolished. Beneath the London City Mission that now occupies the site, traces of the old 18th century foundations can still be seen. At the west end of the churchyard, you can just make out the boundary stones of the two parishes, where St Olave's met St John's. Just around the corner, in Druid Street, is an even older stone. There were once 6 of these around the boundary, but this is the only one that remains. Thomas Guy is one of Bermondsey's most successful sons. He was born not far from the church in Pritchard's Alley, almost where this plaque is situated. After surviving the plague and witnessing the Great Fire of London, he opened his own bookshop selling Bibles. Guy was unfairly judged to be a miser, but he was a smart man. He made a fortune investing shares in the South Sea Company before its collapse. He donated his wealth to his community by building a hospital, Guy's Hospital. At first, it was more of a hospice for incurables, providing them with care in their final days. But since then, it has grown into one of the leading medical trusts in the UK. This is the original 18th century structure. The arch was once part of the medieval London Bridge, which was demolished in 1832. It was saved for posterity and relocated to this quiet corner. The statue, disturbed from his book, is the poet John Keats, who studied medicine here. Anyone can visit the hospital chapel. It's a corner of quiet and calm. In fact, it's the hospital's best kept secret. The halos on the angels really shine when the light plays upon them. It seems a world away from the hectic 21st century traffic outside. Sadly, Thomas Guy died in 1724, just before the hospital was completed. He lies beneath this stunning statue in the chapel. The sculptor was John Bacon, who was also a local man. Dr. Alfred Salter's playground is known locally as Coxon's Park. It was laid out in the 1930s as a much-needed open space for kids. In the flower beds beneath the rose bushes, you will find a small concrete box with an inscription. It contains the ashes of Dr. Salter along with his wife Ada. Beforehand, the site had been known as Butler's burial ground. Butler was a local undertaker. Many of the Irish that settled in Bermondsey and worked on the construction of the overshadowing London and Greenwich Railway were buried here. The London and Greenwich was London's first passenger railway. It was built in 1835. Its 878 brick arches caused a national brick shortage. In the Second World War, people sheltered under these arches. The Cat and Cucumber has been serving egg and chips since the 1930s. It has always been called that name, but nobody knows why. It's a proper greasy spoon with a decent mug of tea. Tower Bridge Magistrates Court was built in 1905. 40 years later, Sybil Campbell, the first female stipendiary magistrate in London, sat here. The Pomeler's Rest was once a very grand hotel, built especially for the opening of Tower Bridge and the expected tourism it would bring. Its style echoes the bank across the road. After standing derelict for years, it is now a pretty decent pub. A pomeler was an artisan who made parts for saddles. Horselydown was renowned for its leather trade, as well as its farriers, blacksmiths and coopers, so it's an appropriate name for this pub. Horselydown Lane is one of the few streets to survive from Tudor times. If Henry VIII was to visit here now, he'd recognise the layout. It would have run right through the middle of the Horselydown fields. This map shows how the area once looked. The red spot is roughly where Horselydown Lane is situated. The Anchor Tap was once part of John Curry's Anchor Brewery. It still looks like an 18th century pub, both inside and out. It is reputedly haunted by a ghost named Charlie. This was the Curry's Brewery. It was already a going concern when John Curry bought it from two brothers who were ale makers. A map of 1550 shows a beer house, so it was well established in 1779 at the time of the sale. Curry bore a well in the basement of the building that tapped into a natural spring to ensure his beer tasted the best. He good-heartedly let the Bermondsey people use the well free of charge, as their only other source of drinking water was the Thames. These stairs are some of the most ancient steps along the riverfront, where kings and nobles would have landed to visit waterside palaces of Bermondsey Abbey. In Victorian times, the Horselydown Regatta began here. Boat races were held from the steps down to Cherry Gardens and back again. It was a grand affair. The winding streets of the area would be decorated with bunting and posters, and there would be competitions and music. In short, a right old knees up for all concerned. Gainsborough Street is the site of another burial ground. In 1668 it was called Goat Yard, and the chapel attached to the graveyard later became the Cooperage, which is now home to the Crown Prosecution Service.